Yeah. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for coming today. And I'd like to just say, it just means so much to all of us that you guys think so much of the women's basketball program and of the Insel family. So what a celebration we're ready to have. And just thank you all for your time. And I would like to acknowledge our board of trustees that are here in the audience. So starting with our chairman, Steve Smith. Tom Boyd and his wife, Martha. Michael Wade. And John Floyd. It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Sidney A. McPhee, president of Middle Tennessee State University. Dr. McPhee, who became our 10th president in 2001, has presided over one of the most remarkable periods of progress and success at our university. Since Dr. McPhee's arrival at MTSU, there's been $2 billion with a B in new construction and renovations on campus. He's increased the enrollment of the high ability students. He's added more than 40 academic programs, 2 colleges. Like yeah, it feels like 400, doesn't it? And 40 academic programs, 2 colleges, and 20 institutes and centers. And he's been ranked, MTSU's been ranked by the Princeton Review as one of the nation's best college for 7 consecutive years. But I think everybody also knows that Dr. McPhee's keen passion for athletics, in general and in women's basketball in particular. And none of this would be possible without his direction and leadership. So ladies and gentlemen, it is my real honor to introduce Dr. Sidney A. McPhee.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, and good morning.
Morning.
As I always like to say, welcome to the beautiful campus of Middle Tennessee State University and this very important gathering. 21 years ago, we met here in the Kennan Hall of Fame to welcome Rick Insell as head coach of our Blue Raiders women's basketball team. And oh my goodness, what a ride it has been. More than 500 wins, actually 506 to date. At MTSU, the most winning coach in our university's history. His Lady Raiders have made 21 consecutive postseason appearances, including 12 NCAA tournament bids, 8 WNIT appearances, and 1 WBIT appearance. Ladies and gentlemen, his team has won over 10 conference regular season championship, 10 conference tournament titles, and reached the conference championship game 13 times. And MTSU has led the league, no matter what league we were in total attendance during the Insell era. So I think you all would agree with me that Rick Insell has had extraordinary success on the courts. And it's matched only by the relationship he has built and the lives he has influenced along the way. But he still has some work to do. So congratulations, Coach, on your victory last night in the WNIT tournament over St. Bonaventure. On a personal level, I'm grateful to call Rick and his family friends, true friends. You know, in life, you have a lot of acquaintances, and there are a lot of people who think they are your friends. But you're really blessed when you, in one hand, can count individuals as true friends that you can depend on. And the Insell family, to me and my late wife, Liz, true friends. I thank him for his remarkable contribution and his enduring legacy. And so it's very fitting, and I think quite proper, that we return to this building this morning to announce that Rick's son, Matt Insell, will succeed as our new coach of the Lady Blue Raiders. Now, I think you all will agree with me, without question, Matt is the right person to lead our women's basketball program in its next chapter. And I've had the opportunity, the wonderful opportunity, to watch him grow as a coach and as a leader and as a person over the years. And I can tell you that he understands what it takes to succeed at this great university. His experience, leadership, and commitment to our student athletes, along with the deep understanding of the standard of excellence that defines this program, make him the ideal choice to carry it forward. Now, just as I was confident that MTSU chose the right coach 21 years ago, I'm just as confident today we are hiring the right next coach for Lady Raiders. My only hesitation, however, as tough and driven as I know Matt is and will be, There's only one other person in this room who's even tougher and even more driven. So before we officially meet our new head coach, let me point out who that person is. Ladies and gentlemen, the force to be reckoned with, who has been tested and is overcoming great odds, Matt's wife, Autumn. And I would be remiss if I did not recognize Matt, Autumn's the children. I think we have a future coach. Stand up there, young man. Look what you got your blue coat on. Stand up and let us give you a round of applause here. And of course, his amazing mother, Deb Insel. Deb, thank you. Thank you for everything you've done. So thank you all for your presence here this morning. I'll turn the mic back over to Chris to say more about Matt. But on behalf of all of MTSU's students, faculty, staff, our alums, and this community everywhere, I want to congratulate Matt. I'm confident that the Insel legacy is in good hands. Thank you very much.
Today is an exciting day for MTSU and for our women's basketball program. And I would really like to echo Dr. McPhee's remarks and how much I personally look forward to working with Autumn in a different role and watching Clark and Evie continue to grow. And maybe 21, 22, 23 years from now, we'll all gather. And one of them might be sitting up here at the podium. Today we gather to introduce a leader who understands completely what it's like to wear the Blue Raider colors. Someone who's invested in our program and is fully prepared for it to lead it into the future, and that's Coach Matt Insel. Matt's journey in the game of basketball is defined by excellence at every level, from travel ball to Division I. As a head coach at the University of Mississippi, he demonstrated the ability to build, lead, and compete at the highest level while reinstituting much-needed integrity into that program. Prior to that, at the University of Kentucky, he played a critical role, which at that time was one of the nation's premier programs, helping guide teams to multiple Sweet 16s and Elite 8s. Additionally, Matt has always distinguished himself as one of the elite recruiters in the game. He's someone who recognizes talent, builds relationships, and pursues prospects with a dogged determination. For the past 8 years, Matt's been right here in Murfreesboro, serving as the associate head coach alongside his father, the legend Rick Insel. During that time, he's helped sustain and build one of the most consistent and successful programs in the country, a program that has dominated the Sun Belt Conference, a program that has dominated Conference USA, and in Rick's tenure has always earned a bid to the postseason basketball tournament. It struck me as Dr. McPhee was reading the stats on Rick that 10 championships, well, he's been here 21 years. And so we've lifted a trophy at least every other year here with his program. I mean, it's amazing accomplishments. Now Matt steps into this role, not only with a deep understanding of our program's championship culture, but with the vision to elevate it even further. And I want to recognize this because this is a special moment, but this isn't just a continuation, but it's an evolution. Matt will carry forward a legacy that includes his dad's 506 wins and the program's 21 NCAA tournament appearances, Matt will do this while putting his own stamp on the future of Middle Tennessee women's basketball. We are confident in his leadership, we believe in his vision, and we're excited for what lies ahead. So please join Dr. McPhee and me in welcoming our next head coach of Middle Tennessee women's basketball, Coach Matt Insel. I do want to point out that the number 8 is because Matt's the eighth head coach in our history.
Yeah, I saw that jersey in Nina's office, and I said, I hope that's not for me, because I think number 8 was one of our players that left us that wasn't very good, so I didn't want to look at that every day in my office. And then Nina reminded me she wasn't number 8, she was another number, so glad I don't have to think about that. But thank you, Dr. McPhee, for this incredible opportunity, and you and Chris. Before I really get started, there's several people I want to thank, but Dr. McPhee, 25 years at Middle Tennessee, the friendship, the trust that you've put in our family, and that's something that we'll never forget. You changed our family's life, and we appreciate that. Thank you, Doc. Chris Massaro, I started to get to know Chris 21 years ago, and we've had some tough conversations. We've had some good ones. We've had some bad ones, but he's been a great mentor to me and a great friend. Even when I was on my journey from La Tech to Kentucky to Ole Miss, Chris always stayed in touch with me, and I just really appreciate that. Diane Turnham, I know she's here somewhere, just a great mentor, someone that I talk to every day. It's been interesting because I haven't really reported to my dad because of laws and everything, so Diane has to come and meet with me every day, and sometimes she wants to have those meetings, sometimes she don't, but we have to catch up every day, so that's always a fun time. And Diane, I expect you to continue to come in and catching up every morning. Our Board of Trustees, I know Chris mentioned them, but Steve Smith, John Floyd, Tom Boyd, Michael Wade have always been very supportive, and not only they're our bosses, but they're great friends, and I appreciate y'all's friendship and your support. My family, and I hope I don't get choked up here. Before I talk about Dad, he's the all-time winningest coach at Middle Tennessee in the history of basketball. And he likes to lay claim that he's the all-time winningest coach in Shelbyville history, but he's not. Ralph Edwards is here, which was my middle school coach, and also he coached about 7 different other sports, but Coach Edwards is the all-time winningest coach in Bedford County history, not Dad. So I want everybody to make sure that's clear. But my dad, a great friend. I'm very fortunate to have him as my dad. He's not only my father, obviously, but he's my best friend. And we've had a lot of ups and downs. We won a lot of games. He's been there for me in a lot of tough times in my life. But the things he's taught me in my life is why I'm sitting here today. And Autumn, our budget is going to be hurt a little bit because now I got to start buying my own lunch. But I'm going to miss that. And he did remind me that he's not going away, but my paycheck's going to be better than his, so I got to buy lunch now. So we're going to figure that out. But Dad, I appreciate everything that you've done for me. And again, I wouldn't be here without you. My mom, she's been with me everywhere. She's moved me into apartments. She's moved me into homes. She's been there when we've had great wins in the Elite Eight. She's been there when we got put out in the first round of the SEC tournament. But she's always been there to hug me and tell me she loves me. And Mom, I just really appreciate that. And my brothers, again, everywhere I've been, my brothers have been there with me. And, you know, I expect them to still be there in the G section, screaming at referees. The Campbell boys handle the section beside them. And then you got Tom and Kyle and G's. So we've got that corner covered during the games. And I expect that to continue. And I love you both. My wife, Autumn, Dr. McPhee just spoke on her. It's been a hard year for us. There's been a lot of ups and downs. There's been a lot of days that she couldn't get out of bed. And she kept encouraging me, even when we had ups and downs this year. She put our team first in everything that she was doing and would tell me every morning, stop worrying about me, I'll be fine. And I want to thank all of you guys and everybody listening. The prayers, the support that you've given us, it's been hard. It's been real, real hard on us. But, you know, we couldn't have made it through without all of you. And I'm still very happy that Hugh Freeze convinced me to come watch a football practice at Ole Miss so I could be introduced to Autumn Insel. And that's how we met, and the rest is history. And I couldn't imagine anybody else right there by my side every day. Now, thank you, babe. Evie, I'm going to talk about you first. You still get to stretch with the girls. That was a question she had. The girls can still give you candy when I tell them not to. So all of that is still on go. But Evie, I love you so much. And thank you. Clark, got an interesting story on Clark. So last Wednesday, obviously Thursday, it was going to come out that Dad's retiring and I'm taking over. So we decided to tell Clark and Evie before Clark's baseball practice at dinner. And they didn't say anything. They had some questions, but they really didn't say much, and they kind of moved on, and we got ready for baseball. So we get in the car to head to baseball practice, and Clark said, Dad, I have a question. Who's going to sit in your seat now? I said, I don't know. I'm working through that. I'm trying to figure that out. He said, well, I know somebody that wants it. I do. I said, well, I don't think you're ready for that, but I get that you want it. Two people that are here that's really helped us this year get through this with Autumn's situation and helping me with our team traveling and all of that, and they're here today, and I want to thank them. Sue Sadler, a close friend of mine from Lexington, Kentucky, and Donna Winter, my mother-in-law. They've been there every step of the way with Autumn and I and the kids this year, and I just couldn't thank them more. Our staff. Dad has said this, and I agree with him 100%. We have the best staff in the country, and I'm so happy that they're a part of our program. I am very fortunate to work with them every day, and I look forward to pushing forward as we move into the future. Our fans, the best fans in the country. There's not any better, and I'd like to give every one of you guys a round of applause. I tell our girls this all the time, and they're sitting over there, and I wish y'all could have my chair. I'd sit on the floor instead of you guys. But they don't know how fortunate they are to have a fan base that we have. On a Monday night in March in the WNIT, we have 4,000 plus people come to Murphy Center to cheer them on. And I try to help them understand that doesn't happen everywhere else. And they see that when we go to other places. But here, every time they step on the floor, you guys are there, and we appreciate that. This isn't another job to me. It's not. This is home. This is where I've grown. This is where I've learned. There's been good days and there's been bad days. But this is not someone taking over this program that's looking for what's next. This is what's next, and I'm excited about that. There's a standard here, a winning standard, and we're not going to run from that. There's 21, as Dr. McPhee just said, and Chris, 21 NCAA tournament appearances, 23 conference championships. That's not everywhere else. We go into these other gyms, and you look at their rafters, and they maybe have one women's basketball rafter. In our gym, it's the whole side of the gym for all of the banners that's happening inside of this program. And that happens because of administration. Our administration cares about women's basketball, and I thank Dr. McPhee and Chris for that. Our former players, I know some of you guys are here. A lot of them have reached out to me this morning. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. And the belief that you have had in this university, in this coaching staff, and all the other coaching staffs that's been here before us, I can't thank you enough. Last night was a big win, and I will talk about that before I move on, because it deals with our former players. So going into March, there were 4 programs in the nation since the year 2000 that have won 17 or more games. And so that's something that we talk a lot about in recruiting. And so those 4 programs are the University of Connecticut, Baylor University, the other university in this state, Dr. McPhee, that we won't talk about, and Middle Tennessee State. After last night, there's only 3 programs in this state, in the country, that has won 17 or more games since the year 2000. That's Baylor University, the University of Connecticut, and Middle Tennessee State. I'm a better coach today than I was at 29 when I took over a job in the SEC. The experiences, the challenges, the lessons that I've learned over the last 13 or 14 years has allowed me to have this next opportunity. I thank Chris and Dr. McPhee and our board of trustees for seeing that in me and giving me this great opportunity. Things are not going to change. There's been some of our fans come in and ask if practice was still open. I'm going to be really upset if you're not at practice. I've already threatened a couple of you that would put you on the line and run you. And I'm serious when I say that. We're going to be a tough, disciplined basketball program. We're going to have a strong focus on the player development and recruiting the top players across the state of Tennessee and also across the world. We will develop pros on and off the floor. That's very important to me when I talk to recruits, is if you don't want to be a pro, don't waste our time or your time. And we talk about the 3 areas that we're going to develop them in and being pros, and that's not going to change. And that's socially, academically, and athletically. We'll develop them in those areas and allow them to achieve excellence on the floor and in life off the floor. We're not here just to compete in our conference. We're going to compete nationally at all times. We're not little middle, where some people like to refer to us that. We're not mid-major. We are a top 30 women's basketball program in the nation, period. The last school that referred to us as little middle, Doc, got beat in this gym, and that was the 5th time in a row they lost to us, and now they won't schedule us. Wonder why. In closing, our objectives have not changed. Sunday, I was in the gym after practice. Nobody was in there. Clark and Evie were playing. And it was the first time that I looked around the gym and thought to myself that I'm going to be the head coach at Middle Tennessee. We've had a lot going, so I really had a chance to stop and think. And as I looked up in the rafters and looked at the banners and all the success that's happened, I go back to 21 years ago when Dad sat at this podium and said, the objective of this program is to play in the second or third weekend in the NCAA tournament. And I looked at those banners and I thought about that statement. That banner's not there yet. And he's trusting me, my father, to make sure he's not a liar. And I take that very serious. We will be playing on the second or third weekend in the NCAA tournament very soon. That is our motivation every single day, and we need you all to do that. The landscape of college athletics has changed. It has, but it's our job to figure out a way to make it happen, even though there is change, and we will do that. And I thank every single one of you guys, and we need you. We need you at the games. We need your support, and thank you all.
Media questions. So for members of the media, please raise your hand and we'll bring a microphone to you.
Hello, Jill Jelnick with Fox 17 in the back. Just first of all, congrats, Rick, Matt. A special ceremony today, special moment, one that you foresaw coming eventually. But Rick, I'd love to first ask you, now that you're here, now that you're in the moment, hearing your son speak, how would you describe this moment for your family?
Well, my wife says that I talk like Mr. Haney. So I don't, we did a lot better with him. But I'm happy. I'm just, you have changes all across the landscape of women's basketball. You've got all kinds of openings right now across the nation. I don't see that Dr. McPhee or Chris could have chosen anyone with the experience and the attitude that Matt's got for this program, the love that he's got for this program and his family. And that's what it's going to take to move us forward. And what a great choice. Now, I am biased, but I still think, just throw that out the window, with his knowledge and what he does recruiting and what he does on floor, what he does scheduling, we could not have picked a better person than Matt Insel.
Hey, Matt, Cecil Joyce with the Daily News Journal. Talk about the recruiting edge a little bit. You were obviously very heavily involved in recruiting. As an assistant, how is that going to change, or will it change at all?
I think one of my mistakes when I took the job at Ole Miss, I listened to a lot of people saying that you need to hire recruiters, you got to go do this, you have to do that. And I listened to that. And recruiting is one of the things that I do the best. And going out and watching young ladies play and evaluating talent, getting to know their families, getting to know them. And so I think that that's something I know I'm going to stay heavily involved in that. That's something I learned the first time. Now, does it change a little bit now as the head coach? Yes. There will be some times that I have other obligations I have to do, but recruiting is always going to be number one. And the number one most important recruiting I'm doing right now is sitting over here, is retaining this roster, because we have something real special. And you know when you have something real special when everybody tries to call your players. And we've got a big commitment from our administration to make sure that we can do that, and to make sure that we step out on this floor next year with an experienced roster that's ready to go and win in the NCAA tournament. And I believe that that group right there is a core group of that, and we're excited about that.
Brett Walker, MTSU sidelines coach for you, Rick. How much has the support of your wife, Miss Deb, and for Matt, your mom, meant to you both over the years?
Oh, God. I wouldn't be here without Deb. I mean, she's kind of been, behind the scenes on everything, and I don't really give her enough credit, but God, it's, she's there for our family on every issue and she's there for all the other families in this community that if they need help. I mean, and then Matt, 8 years ago when we brought Matt on, 9 years ago, whatever it was, I think it was 8 or 9, but at that point, we'd kind of hit a stalemate in recruiting. And we brought Tom Hodges back. Matt came back, and Tom Hodges. Of course, Kim's been with us 16 years, and we brought Nina in. That kind of completed that staff. We got what we needed here in Middle Tennessee to go forward. And, of course, he was directing all of that. He was in charge of the recruiting. And so, where we're at right now with these young ladies over here, what a special, special, talented group they are. They don't realize how talented they are. They're about to, but Matt and this group with him brought them on board.
My mom, it means so much. She's probably the biggest thing she brought to the table the last 8 years is to make sure Dad and I didn't get in a fist fight at some point. She mediated a lot of arguments because we're both very competitive and we're both very strong-willed and want our way done. And but my mom means so much to us and to our family.
Noel Maddox with the Shelbyville Times-Gazette. Coach, you have a stellar legacy, obviously, here at MTSU with all the accomplishments that Dr. McPhee read off for us earlier. As you're from Shelbyville, your legacy at the high school ranks that preceded you getting this job those 21 years ago, arguably, just as significant to a large number of people. When you think back on your entire career, what kind of meaning does the time with the Eaglettes hold in your heart as it helped prepare you for this incredible run at Murfreesboro?
I want to say something first on that. Y'all made a great hire at Shelbyville, and Chad Spencer that's sitting right over here, that's been a part of Daddy's and our family for many years.
When you start coaching, you don't ever think about being in Hall of Fames. You don't think about, even when I got hired at Shelbyville, I didn't think I would be the head coach at Middle Tennessee State. Matter of fact, in 1986, I was telling Jim Simpson, Jimmy Earle offered me this job in 1986. That was after we had won our first state championship. And it was at the Holiday Inn out on the interstate. And I had to go back home and sit down with Deb, and I had to make a decision. That decision was made to spend time with this one, that one. Where's Tom at? And that one. Instead of coming to Middle Tennessee and building this program, I had to build my family. And I spent all that time with them and thinking probably I'd never get another opportunity. And then it presented itself in 2005, and luckily that Dr. McPhee and Chris, as we sat down, they decided this was the direction that we were going in. I was very, very fortunate. And I'm even more fortunate now with these guys sitting right here. Our board of trustees are very much involved. They're here today, but they're also at our games, the tournaments, and things like that. That tells you as a community that they believe in women's sports. Not only women's basketball, that's big right now across our country, women's sports, and they believe. Men's sports have got they've got their place also, but here at this university, our women's sports have got their place too.
Jacob Burgess, MTSU sidelines. Matt, Rick just mentioned it. He never thought he would get to this point. When you were finishing your degree here and when you came back 8 years ago, was there a point when you thought you would be the head coach of MTSU?
There's times I wonder when I was going through this process that they were going to tell me that maybe I didn't pass a class and I didn't have my degree. But I never, on my journey, everywhere I've been, Middle Tennessee was always on my mind because it's home. And even to a point, being a head coach in the SEC, it always crossed my mind, well, what happens if Dad retires and Chris calls? Are you willing to leave to go back? And in my mind, that answer was always yes. There was never a time that if I was called throughout my career to come back to Middle Tennessee that I would come, because I knew I wanted to be home here. And, you know, I didn't work for that when I came back 8 years. I came back 8 years ago and I didn't ask Dad for anything. I didn't want a title. I didn't want any of that. I just wanted to go to work and prove myself. And after we made our first NCAA tournament, Chris and Dr. McPhee called me in and named me associate head coach. And then every day I just kept working. And he would tell you this. I never one time talked to him about retirement, when he needed to retire or he needed to go. I wanted him to do it on his own. And when he made the decision that he wanted to do it, he came in and said, hey, we need to go up and talk to Chris about something. And I was doing a scout. And I was like, Dad, I don't have time to go up here and listen to you and Chris talk for 30 minutes, and I'm trying to do a scout, and we got to win the next game. No, come on. So we went up there, and he walked in, and he says, it's time. It's time for me to retire. And I don't know what you want to do, but it's time. And that's the first time I heard about it. And next thing I know, I'm in meetings with Chris and Dr. McPhee, and next thing I know, I'm the head coach at Middle Tennessee. So it's all been going really fast for me, while at the same time trying to prepare our team and making sure that, again, my number one priority is those girls right over there. That's number one on my list at all times.
Coach, you spoke earlier about how much younger you were when you were at Ole Miss. What's the biggest thing you would say you learned and took from that experience that you will lead into this job?
I get that question a lot. Is not to take things personal. And I think when I was 29 and I worried so much about what people thought of me, and I worried so much about, well, this person did it that way or this person does it that way. I need to change the way I do things. And that led to me not being the head coach at Ole Miss because I worried about all of that kind of stuff. And I took things personal. I took things personal when the person on the 18th row wanted to fire me. I took things personal when the person on the 18th row said I was the greatest coach in the country. So, you know, one of the things I've learned is not to worry about all of that and just focus on what's in front of you. Those 13 players are in front of you, your staff, your family, all of those things is what, you know, I do. And being consistent with that every single day. And this year it's been hard to be consistent at times because of everything that we had going on behind the scenes. And Dad has made it public. This team's been through a lot that they didn't ask for at 18 years old. And, you know, I've learned a lot from them, and I'm excited about where we're moving forward with them.
Matt, obviously, it's never easy to follow a legend in anywhere. You can look at sports.
I hear that. My Facebook wall has it all over it. So, again, I'm not taking that personal either.
But you mentioned this is the next stop. Like this is the final stop to you. What does that mean? What does this job mean to you, and why did you say that?
When I'm saying that, it's not Matt Insel saying, this is it for me. I'm 44 years old, and I'm going to turn this into what Dad has talked about for years. I'm going to continue building on what he is, and this is a special, special place. Why can't we go to a Sweet 16? Why can't we go to Elite 8? Why can't we go to the Final Four? Why can't we win a national title? And if you don't talk about that stuff, it's never going to happen. And so we talk about that with our team every single day. And a lot of people think we're crazy by talking about it because you can't do it at this level or that level and all of that. No, that's the kind of stuff that motivates me. And so every day when I come into my office, I'm coming in to take this thing to the level that he started it at, and I'm just carrying it on to take it to even bigger heights. And so am I looking at what's next for Matt Insel? No, Matt Insel is from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Matt Insel is the head coach at Middle Tennessee State, and I'm glad to be that.
Good morning, Kendall Lanier with News 2. Coach, can you speak to what kind of comfort this brings you, knowing that this was the right time to step away, with your legacy being the one to carry the torch forward and continue what you started?
You know, I think Chris, I never talk about that. And we don't talk about how many games, legacy, or all that. It was just time. You know, I need to concentrate on my health right now. I need to concentrate on my grandbabies. I've got 13. I've got 2 here today. Maybe, I think that's all I've got here. I have to look around, you know, but I've been having to put their games on the back burner, and because I put our basketball team where they need to be. But now it's time for me to, you know, I'm 75 years old, and I want to go see Clark play. I want to see Evie play. I want to see Parsons and Little Blue play. So I can't hardly do that and keep my attention here. So it was time. And our fan base, I know nearly every one of them by the first name nearly, and I love them. I know when they're at our ball games and when they're not at our ball games. Just nearly everybody in that gym. So, you know, it's time for me to get up there and do what I can do there. And I'm not going away. I'm going to still be around. I'm still going to be at some of the practices, if not all of them. And I'm going to be doing what Chris needs me to do, or the Board of Trustees needs me to do, or Dr. McPhee needs me to do. I'm going to be here to do what I can do to help Middle Tennessee take that next step. You know, I'm thinking, you know, maybe I was trying to talk Coach Mason there to put me on his staff just a minute ago. But he said, we don't need your personality with mine. So, you know, whatever. But he don't know it. I'm going to be at some of his practices anyway, so I'll use the trump card. I got 2 trump cards right here and 2 or 3 down here, so I can use them on them.
Yeah, if somebody doesn't think that he's going to let his opinion known to me, then you're living in a place that's not reality. He's still going to be telling me what he thinks, so trust that.
One last question, Emmy Fazenbaker, MT Athletics, both for you guys. What do you think you will miss the most about sharing the court with each other, day in and day out, night out, even as we go into the game on Thursday?
You want me to start?
You can.
I mean, I think that I was sitting there last night when we're up 11 at the end of the first, there to start the game, and then next thing I know, I'm thinking, okay, we're going to get another game, so this is not going to be it. We're going to be good. And then it goes to 20-20, and I thought, oh, no. We can't go out this way because he'll never forgive me. And but it's special. It's very special. I take pride in working for him, and he's why I'm here. He's molded me into being who I am today. I take great pride going in through the shake hand line after the game, and I look in front of me, and it's my 6-year-old son and my dad shaking hands with the opposing team players and coaches. And my wife would tell you we do a rewatch after every game. Girls, sometimes that's good and bad for you guys. Sometimes I need a 24-hour rule and not watch it. But we don't turn that rewatch off until that shake hand line is over, because we want to see Dad, Clark, and myself going through that line together. And that's pretty special.
What I'll miss is those kids right over there. You know, the relationships that I'll have with them. You know, just being able to walk up the ramp every day, I don't take that for granted. Murphy Center's special. I can remember when I was Clark's age listening to the Blue Raiders play. They didn't have women's basketball back then. And I'd go to my grandmother's house and sit there with the old radio, and Monty Hale would be calling the games, and I would listen to Coach Trickey and Coach Earl coach the men's basketball program. And now, you know, I walked in this gym and I got to I got to be the head coach at Middle Tennessee State. Who would have ever dreamed that back when I was Clark's age? I didn't. But those young ladies over there and the young ladies that came before them, that's what I'll miss. And then, of course, being able to have lunch every day with two of your sons. He's my son, along with Tom and Kyle. But also, Tom Hodges is somewhere. Where's Tom Hodges at? Tom's back in the back. He's one of my sons. I've kind of adopted him, so I've had to pay for his lunch also every day. So, I told Matt, I'm serious. I said, I'm not paying for lunch anymore. I've done this, So, but just to experience that. And then Kim Bruton has been with me 16 years. God, she's like my daughter also. I mean, and then Nina, I went to Matt and I said, I saw Nina helping Tom during the summer, and I watched her as she was mixing with Tom's players on his team. And I told Matt, I said, I like the way she's handling things. Call her and see what she's doing. And she was working for Fox Sports in Los Angeles. And I said, ask her if she wants to coach. And she said she'd been thinking about it. So she came back in and we hired her. And I said this before, I'll say it now. We got the best staff in America. And they all play their role. They all get along. And that's what it takes to be successful. I'll miss that.
That concludes today's press conference. Thank everyone for coming, and we'll see you Thursday night.
Can y'all stand together?